Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to News 3 Now Live at 4.
It's Friday.
And we are Bruno-less this Friday.
That's right. It's just you and me today.
He's on vacation,
Yeah.
but the news hounds will wrap things up at the end of the week.
We have a busy day.
Yep, so here's what's making news on this Friday. Keely Arthur has some alarming video of a road rage incident involving a biker and a car driver.
The young man who claimed to be a missing boy from Illinois is in hot water tonight. He is facing federal charges.
And President Trump is downplaying the claims of people seeking asylum at the U.S.-Mexico border.
Let's take a look outside today. Boy, that sunshine was nice.
Yeah.
The flowers are popping up. The daffodils coming up. Oh, those are crocuses.
Croci.
Is it croci?
No, I think it's crocuses. Yeah, it's finally feels pretty good. The weather word's into the 60s, and Chris Reese is in the backyard. Things looking good.
That's right. Into the 60s is exactly where we are going to go this weekend. And, folks, we have tried to get there today. The temperature right now, 57, 1 degree colder from that high of 58 that we did have. That's all thanks to the sun finally being able to come on out. 57 as you work your way down towards Janesville right now. 60s just to our west. Check out Boscobel, Lone Rock, and Mineral Point, all in the 60s. 63 in Mineral Point right now. Across the upper Midwest, there are more 60s entering the picture as well. That, my friends, that you see back to our south and west, places like Nebraska and western Iowa. That's what's coming into the picture as we go into your Saturday. There's just going to be a little bit more cloud cover as well. But, folks, we are a lot warmer right now than we were at this time yesterday. Bask in that. Enjoy it, especially as we go through the weekend as well. These temperatures are a little bit above where we should be for this time of the year, but it's a sign of where things are going to go eventually. It makes you hungry for summer to just get outside and enjoy that sunshine and those warmer temperatures that we do have out there. Right now, sunshine for us here on the patio, especially if you're looking outside, but there is a little bit more cloud cover just to the west, and that's going to move in later on tonight and bring some shower chances into the weekend as well. So do plan for that. But if you're going out for the rest of this afternoon, folks, things are certainly going to be dry. So certainly take advantage of that if you get the opportunity to do so. Right now, this is traffic at the Beltline at Park Street. So far, no big issues showing up. We are starting to see our typical slowdowns on the Beltline that you would see for a Friday evening commute, along with a few more brake lights starting to show up downtown. But of course, folks, we're going to track that traffic for you guys along with the weather as we go throughout the show. Guys.
All right, smiles all around with that forecast.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris, I'll see you in a few minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. First at 4, a scary road rage incident is prompting the city of Madison to remind cyclists and drivers to get along.
Keely Arthur has surveillance video of what happened. Keely.
Well, rain, shine, or snow, people bike in Madison no matter what. And with the warmer weather ahead, we can expect even more cyclists. Now, this is surveillance video captured by a Madison Metro bus showing a March 13th incident. A 19-year-old drives into the turning lane, nearly missing biker Ben Jones. The driver then hops out of the car while it's still in drive. He runs back in to park it. Then you can see him turn back to shove Jones. According to police, he hits him just out of the frame.
You don't have the protection of airbags and a steel safety cage from a car to protect us. We're really just out there in the elements. So when somebody, be it swerves at you with their car or, heaven forbid, throws you on the ground, you really have nothing to protect yourself.
Now, Jones injured his shoulder when he fell off the bike. He says he is okay now and wants to use this incident to remind everyone to be on the lookout for his fellow cyclists. City officials say drivers need to be mindful of bikers, especially as they enter turning lanes. The driver was issued a misdemeanor battery citation.
Yeah, that happens so many times. You're going to the turning lane and there's a biker there.
And now that it's spring, all the bikers are out, so you have to get used to that again.
Be careful, everybody, and stay calm.
That's right.
If something happens.
We all have to get along. We all have to get along.
That's the
Keely,
key.
thank you.
Thank you, Keely. Police released new information on a road rage shooting that shook the Phoenix community. Phoenix police arrested a suspect in a shooting that killed 10-year-old Summer Brown and injured her father. 20-year-old Joshua Gonzalez faces charges of first-degree murder and 3 counts of aggravated assault. There is security footage of Gonzalez in his white pickup truck tailing the family in their gray car. Police say Gonzalez followed them home and opened fire after Summer's dad cut him off. The girl was asleep in the back seat.
Gun was linked through forensic evidence to the crime, and that was found inside the residence in the garage.
Police say the shooter has a history of violent crime, and just as the community came together to help find him, the Phoenix Police Department hopes it now does the same to help Summer's grieving family.
The man accused of killing his wife in Wisconsin Dells is currently facing 11 domestic abuse charges from January. The Wisconsin Dells Police Department said 23-year-old Tatiana Husva was found dead in a home on Washington Avenue during a check welfare call Thursday night. Police arrested her husband, 31-year-old Fayoud Pashavas, as the suspect in the case. Pashavas is already facing 11 charges on suspicion of domestic abuse toward Husva in Columbia County. The charges include strangulation, false imprisonment, criminal damage to property, 3 counts of battery, and 5 counts of disorderly conduct. Husva had gone to police in early January because she feared her husband was going to kill her. According to the criminal complaint, she said the two had lived together for 3 years, and his alcohol consumption had increased, and with it came violence.
There is little left of a home in Janesville after a fire last night. The home on Hankey Road was in flames when firefighters arrived. The fire was brought under control within 30 minutes and there were no injuries. A family dog inside did not survive. Damage to the home is estimated at $180,000.
The FBI has filed federal criminal charges against an Ohio man who claimed to be a missing boy from Illinois. Federal officials have charged 23-year-old Brian Reaney with lying to an FBI agent about his true identity. The 23-year-old suspect reportedly said that he was Timothy Pitson, who disappeared 8 years ago at the age of 6.
Then law enforcement confronted him with the DNA results, and at that point, the person immediately stated that he was not Timothy Pitson. Mr. Reaney told agents that he learned this information from watching a 2020 episode about Timothy Pitson. We confirmed that there was such a 2020 episode and that, in fact, a rerun had aired just several weeks ago.
Pitson's mother was found dead in a hotel room of an apparent overdose. She reportedly left behind a note saying her son was safe with people who would care for him and he would never be found again. Federal investigators hope that the fresh attention on his case will bring new clues. State lawmakers want to hear your thoughts on the governor's 2-year spending plan.
From transportation to health care, the fiscal fight over a number of issues came to Janesville today. Our Rose Schmidt explains where these proposals stand. Rose?
Yes, well, an Assembly Republican leader says he'll consider the gas tax increase that Governor Evers is proposing, while Senate Republicans say they won't. This is just one of the many issues lawmakers are fighting over 5 weeks after Evers put forth his budget proposal. Hundreds of people packed the Pontiac Convention Center in Janesville this morning, waiting for their chance to speak before the state's budget committee for the first time this year. Groups like AARP and the Wisconsin Public Education Network wore matching T-shirts and advocated for plans like Medicaid expansion and large increases in K-12 funding for special education. 2 things Republican leaders have warned against, as they say Evers' plan takes the state backwards. But Democrats aren't backing down just yet.
And my main concern with this budget is that it spends way too much, it has way too much regulations, and it backpedals on all the reforms that have made our state in the best position I can ever remember, and I've been around a long time.
So this governor is doing exactly what the people asked him to do, and he's ending 8 years of neglect of the core priorities of the people of this state.
The Joint Committee on Finance will head to Oak Creek next Wednesday, followed by River Falls and Green Bay in the following weeks. These public hearings are from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., and they're open to anyone who wants to come and testify about pretty much any subject in this budget proposal.
All right, Rose Schmidt reporting for us. Thank you, Rose.
Thank you, Rose. President Trump spent part of his day on the border in California discussing security and made claims about the number of people seeking asylum in this country. Mo Lalengi has the story.
A cheering crowd greeted President Trump when he landed in California to take part in a roundtable discussion in Calexico with law enforcement officers and immigration officials about border security.
There is indeed an emergency on our southern border. It's been loud and clear.
President Trump is also touring the border in Calexico. The White House says the 2-mile section of fencing is the first part of the president's proposed border wall. But some question whether it's new construction or the replacement of an existing barrier that dates back to 2009. President Trump says more is on the way.
We expect to have close to 400 miles done within about 2 years from now. That's a lot.
Thursday, President Trump backed off his threat to shut down the southern border with Mexico. his response to a surge of Central Americans seeking asylum at the border, many of them families.
The system is full, and when it's full, there's nothing you can do. You have to say, I'm sorry, we can't take you.
The president says he has not changed his mind about the situation at the border, but that he'd rather take a different approach. He's threatening 25% tariffs on cars coming into the U.S. and other unspecified economic penalties to counter drug smuggling. Some Republican lawmakers in border states say a shutdown would have been economically damaging.
It would cause as much damage to the U.S. economy as it would to the Mexican economy.
President Trump will also attend a fundraiser in Beverly Hills and will overnight in Las Vegas. Mola Lengi, CBS News, the White House.
Senator Ron Johnson on Fox News this morning backs the president's push to get Mexico to help slow the flow of illegal immigration at the southern border. Senator Johnson says it's different than it was 20 years ago when most of those trying to enter the country from Mexico were doing so for economic reasons.
Right now, it's unaccompanied children and people coming in as family units, and now they are staying. We apprehend them, we process them, and we disperse them all over the country. It's overwhelming the system.
Senator Johnson says the U.S. needs to change laws to stop giving illegal immigrants incentives to send children across the border to establish long-term residency.
Possible 2020 contender and former Vice President Joe Biden made his first public appearance since several women accused him of inappropriate touching. At a union event in Washington, Biden joked about recent accusations of improper touching. Several women have come forward with stories about Biden making them feel uncomfortable. After the event, he addressed the accusations directly.
I just want you to know I had permission to hug Lonnie. He gave me permission to touch him. I'm not sorry for any of my intentions. I'm not sorry for anything that I have ever done. I've never been disrespectful intentionally.
If you're running for office, we're not grabbing people, we're not kissing them, we're not, hugging them.
Earlier this week, Biden posted a video acknowledging his actions made that some women feel uneasy. President Trump, who himself has been accused of improper behavior toward women, tweeted an altered version of that video. Biden's expected to announce a final decision on a presidential run soon.
There's more to come at 4. You hear it from older people all the time. They're lonely.
In fact, 1 in 4 claim to lack companionship. Now, one woman is doing something to change that.
A British cafe is tackling loneliness one cup at a time. I'm Gwen Baumgartner in London, where conversations over coffee are creating a new kind of community.
Well, a new poll shows 1 in 4 older adults feels lonely at least some of the time.
Gwen Baumgartner has the story of a woman in London and her campaign to connect to her community.
Even in a busy place like London, filled with nearly 9 million people, loneliness can take its toll.
Sometimes being in a big city is more isolating. You're surrounded by people, but you don't know who to talk to.
For Louise Kay, loneliness hit when her husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. She talked her local restaurant into opening its doors to a social idea.
I just kept my fingers crossed that people would turn up.
And they did.
Joe. Hello, Joe.
Hi, Diana.
I'm Diana.
Cafe Conversations is now a weekly meetup for strangers who've learned to connect over a cup of coffee or tea. Brought together by loneliness, the group talks about anything but.
When you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grew up?
I have dreams I be lawyer.
Question cards keep the conversation flowing.
You don't have to say anything. You can talk as much as you like about whatever you like.
A new poll from Michigan researchers reveals loneliness shows up most in people 50 to 80 years old who also have health issues and unhealthy eating habits. Previous studies link chronic loneliness to problems including memory loss and shorter lives.
They said they were interested.
Sausan Suleiman struggled to find a place in the British capital after fleeing from Syria.
So after you've been to a cafe conversation, how do you feel?
I feel so happy.
Yeah. So less lonely.
Yes, absolutely.
After seeing the friendships formed through these cafe conversations, Kay hopes the concept will catch on around the world, making people feel less alone, one cup at a time. Gwen Baumgartner, CBS News, London.
I love this idea. We could duplicate this in Madison.
Oh, yeah, it'd be very easy.
The campaign to fight loneliness is spreading across the UK.
An English bus service launched a chatty bus route where volunteers strike up conversations with lonely passengers. That would work too.
That's such a good idea.
Yeah,
I always talk about, being an empty nester now with my son in college. It's a lonely period in my life,
Get out there and...
I know, I need some coffee and some friends. I should start it.
There you go. Stocks extend gains after a strong March jobs report. The Dow Industrials added 40 points, ending the week at 26,424. The NASDAQ Composite Index gained 46. The S&P 500 was up 13. Well, coming up, music and controversy. That sums up this year's ACM Awards.
We'll find out when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4.
Take a look at this. It may look like a nice plate of spaghetti, but it's really a plate of spaghetti ice, a German ice cream dish. Vanilla ice cream is pressed through a potato ricer, giving it the appearance of spaghetti. Then it's placed over whipped cream and topped with a strawberry sauce, look like tomato sauce, and either coconut flakes, grated almonds, or white chocolate shavings to represent Parmesan cheese. The creation first appeared in 1969. It's estimated that between 23 and 25 million portions of spaghetti ice cream are produced every year, almost exclusively in Germany.
That'd be fun to fool your kids with.
I had a dinner party just last week, and I made spaghetti. I feel like that would have been funny to serve.
Spaghetti, yeah, and here's dessert.
I know,
more spaghetti.
That would have been pretty nice.
Well, we can break out the grills for this weekend, I think.
That is true. It's going to be warm, not necessarily the best weekend, because there are chances for rain. But, folks, temperatures, they're going to be in the 60s. And I think a lot of us are excited about that. And it's not going to be a washout of a weekend either. So I've got your full weekend forecast coming up. And I'm also going to tell you why you should enjoy the weekend, especially as we move towards next week.
Oh, no.
Well, after the cloud cover this morning, we finally started to see some sunshine around here in south central Wisconsin. More of that sunshine outside for us right now. Temperatures certainly began to make their way into the upper 50s. We hit 58 for our high in Madison today, but right now temperatures are still very warm. 57 in town, 59 down in Monroe, Mineral Point at 61. Same for Lone Rock and Boscobel with those temperatures that are into the 60s. And we're seeing more sunshine now. This is visible cloud cloud track and just watch how over the past 6 hours we really saw the drier air work its way on in here, and that cloud cover really dissipated, allowing for a lot more sunlight to enter into the picture. Here's just a more zoomed out view showing that across the upper Midwest. Still, though, there is a little bit of cloud cover back to the west across parts of Minnesota and Iowa. 57 again in town right now. Winds coming out of the south at 3 miles per hour. Get this, a wind chill even at 57. So ultimately, it feels great out there. We are going to watch the clouds move back in overnight, along with some chances for rain as temperatures hover into the 50s and 60s for your weekend as well. And into Saturday, we'll see those highs around 64 with rain chances mainly north of us in Madison. We'll see some better rain chances as we go into Sunday and really into Sunday night. But here is what's controlling the weather right now. Really, we are unsettled. There are several different storm systems producing the cloud cover and the shower chances, not just for us, but a large part of the Midwest and the Ohio Valley, along with storms across the deep south as well. So we're not the only ones who have been unsettled lately. Oddly enough, you might be able to argue that we've had the nicest weather as of late. But here's the deal. Things are about to get very active once again for a large part of the country. We have a powerful jet stream right now, but really over the Pacific, the jet stream is rocking and rolling, folks, and it is picking up regions of low pressure as it does so. So these two swirls that you see, those are actually two different storm systems that will move into the United States and impact our weather. And they're more just behind what is able to be seen on the satellite view. But with that jet stream, what will often happen is these regions of low pressure will come in on the Pacific coast, dive down throughout the four corners, and then work their way towards the Great Lakes. This is actually a pattern that produces a lot of severe weather across the deep south. In fact, we are already seeing severe weather threats across the deep south. This is Texas and throughout parts of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and Mississippi for tomorrow, dealing with a pretty strong threat of severe weather. But then as we move into Sunday, some of these same areas are under the gun for that severe weather potential. But as they deal with the severe storms, these same systems are going to bring us rain and perhaps a little bit of something else. Let's go ahead and show you these systems that are going to be working into the picture. This is tomorrow. Notice the showers and thunderstorms across the deep south. A lot of cloud cover for us, and those rain chances will begin to increase for us as well, especially into Sunday with more showers and thunderstorms in the deep south. Now that system's going to work its way onto the east. As it does so, our next system comes ashore, and you're going to start to notice rain and snow developing across the west. This works its way towards the upper Midwest and so this is why I told you all to make sure that you enjoy the weekend. There's a chance that we could be on the cold side of that next weekend to see some, or next week rather, to see some wintry impacts around here. But towards the south, we will have to watch that for severe weather to our south, and eventually that severe weather, folks, does creep its way towards the north. In fact, as we go through April and into May, June, and July, that's where our severe weather season here in Wisconsin begins to peak. So now's a good time to begin to prepare for that. Start focusing on severe weather safety and just some of the tips that come along with that. Preparing your severe weather kit with batteries and a flashlight, having that weather radio on hand, and then of course determining safe places and securing those outdoor objects. It's certainly that time of the year. And coming up next week, about the same time that we do have chances for rain and snow, we're also going to be having the statewide tornado drill that's going to start at 1 o'clock Thursday afternoon and wrap up at 2. And then we're actually going to have another test later on next Thursday evening around 6:45. So lots of severe weather talk coming up over the next couple of days. No severe weather threats as of yet, but the pattern is going to be trending more active across the country. And as it does so, those odds of severe weather potential will continue to increase, especially as we go into May, June, and July. Tonight, 43 degrees. We're going to be partly to mostly cloudy. We should stay dry, though. Dry for Saturday morning. The best shower chances will be mainly well north of Madison. Temperatures will be into the 60s and well into the 60s for Sunday and Monday as well. By Wednesday night into Thursday, that's the period I'm watching for rain over to a period of perhaps some slushy wet snow, which no one wants to hear, but I like to be able to say this. There's so much time between now and then. So much is going to change. So right now, let's just enjoy what we've got.
I'm looking to Monday, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Monday, and we'll keep you up to date.
And Chris will keep us updated all weekend on the morning news, and then stay tuned for CBS Sunday Morning.
Hey, Mark. Yeah, we've got a lot coming up on Sunday morning. The image of a little girl named Caroline Kennedy is etched deeply in American memory. Her father, President John F. Kennedy, was assassinated in Dallas in 1963. And among the many ways she's honored his legacy is her Profile in Courage Award, given annually to someone who exemplifies courage by risking their career or their lives for some higher ideal. Martha Teichner spoke with Caroline Kennedy about her father and the award, and here's a clip.
Do you have a sense of the role, responsibility, and courage played in his life?
Well, I think from his earliest time serving in the U.S. Navy during the war, then serving in Congress and the Senate and the presidency, the quality that he admired most was courage and principled leadership. And I think that he inspired that in a generation of Americans who he called to service and who responded.
So what else is on the show today, or this weekend?
Well, a whole lot. As a matter, big week for millions. Game of Thrones returns for its final season. And our Sunday morning profile is actress Emilia Clarke, who fans will know as the Mother of Dragons. If you're not into Game of Thrones, you'll find out what all the excitement is about. Plus, Oscar-winning actor Sam Rockwell talks about his uncanny performance in a new series about the legendary choreographer Bob Fosse. That and a whole lot more, as always.
As always, quite a variety. Jane, thank you very much for your time. We'll see you Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. And it's also a big weekend for country music as some of the industry's biggest stars gather in Las Vegas for the 54th Academy of Country Music Awards.
As Chris Martinez tells us, this year's show promises big performances along with a little bit of controversy.
The stage is set in Vegas as country music's biggest names get ready for Sunday's Academy of Country Music Awards. Reba McEntire returns as show host for the 16th time.
For them to ask me to come back and host again, and for being nominated and then also winning 16 times at the ACMs, how could you feel anything but really good?
When I taste tequila.
This year, duo Dan and Shay and Chris Stapleton have the most nominations with 6 each.
It'll be all right.
Casey Musgraves follows with 5 nominations, including Album, Single, and Female Artist of the Year. But for the second year in a row, no female artists are nominated for Entertainer of the Year. Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, Kenny Chesney, Chris Stapleton, and Keith Urban are up for that honor.
I've argued that the criteria for Entertainer of the Year need to change.
Variety magazine music writer Chris Willman says many fans may not realize the category is primarily judged by arena ticket sales, a concert venue that, in country music, is typically dominated by men.
Meanwhile, you've got people like Casey Musgraves and Maren Morris, who are media darlings, actually getting some radio play. You can't escape them, but they have no chance at getting nominated for Entertainer of the Year because they're not arena headliners yet.
This year's show promises some big performances, including Jason Aldean, Kelly Clarkson, and Carrie Underwood. Reba will also perform a song from her new album. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
And the 54th ACM Awards air Sunday night right here on CBS and News 3 Now.
There's more to come tonight at 4. Shazam! It's the latest superhero movie to hit the big screen.
We'll have a preview of the film and meet the newest superhero, and Live at 4 continues.
Here's a live look downtown and part of the UW campus. Sun's still out on a Friday afternoon. Crew team on the road. They have a big race this weekend. Always looking for the boats this time of the year. Well, what happens when a teenager is granted superpowers just by saying a word?
Rick DeMagella has a preview of the new movie, Shazam.
Billy Batson, I choose you.
There's a new hero in town as Shazam joins DC Comics' big screen universe.
Say my name so my powers may flow through you.
But I don't know your name, sir.
Shazam.
Asher Angel dove right into the source material for his role as the young Billy Batson.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as I got the role, immediately rushed to the comic book store with my dad, got the new 52, got all the comics, and yeah, I mean, I just really wanted to invest in the character and embody Billy Batson.
While Zachary Levi bulked up to embody Shazam.
I've been in the gym 6 days a week for the last year and a half, sometimes 2 a days, and eating anywhere between 3,000 and 4,000 calories a day, but like not the fun calories, the the clean, healthy calories like chicken and broccoli. If it could be Haagen-Dazs, it's a dream, easy.
Chosen one. Oh, you're like a bad guy, right?
Every hero needs a villain.
He was around at the very beginning when Shazam was in the first comic. He was his first nemesis. I think in the original he was a kind of crazy scientist. Nobody understood his work, so he got very angry about that and went to Venus or something, whereas our version is a much more robust guy.
In Hollywood, I'm Rick DeMagella.
Shazam!
And our Will Loper will tell us what he thinks our film critic Monday on Live at 4.
Well, the 4 basketball teams vying for the NCAA men's title have arrived in Minneapolis.
When we come back, Professor Jay Wilson will take a look at the Final Four and who will claim the championship Monday night. That's when Live at 4 continues.
happy Friday afternoon. We're really starting to see those traffic backups, especially on the Beltline, as a lot of folks are getting ready to head home or out for their Friday evening activities. This is the Beltline at Park Street right now. We are seeing high volume in both directions right now, and that's what we're going to see more of until we start to wrap up that evening commute. Let's go ahead and zoom in on Madison. Here's both directions of the Beltline. You do see we are seeing several brake lights. Average speeds are pretty slow as well. Anywhere from 11 miles per hour, especially as you start to work your way over towards Midvale and Verona Road, 20 miles per hour closer towards Fisk Hatchery, and then upwards of 30 miles per hour as we begin to get closer towards John Nolan. Also, several slowdowns right now between the Beltline and County Highway PD on Verona Road, where they are doing that construction right now, getting as slow as 8 miles per hour at times. And of course, there is a traffic light right there. But do be prepared to pack your patience a little bit if you are headed in those directions. Right now, if you're eastbound on the Beltline from Verona to John Nolan, that's going to take you about 13 minutes right now. Otherwise, from the University Avenue to Verona, that's about 8 minutes, and then John Nolan towards the interstate, 5 minutes. So far, no major issues out there, but you are going to have to be prepared for some of those slowdowns, guys.
Yep, it is Friday afternoon. Yep. Thank you, Chris. The Washington Wizards basketball team may be out of the playoffs, but it was a great season for 20 seniors who wrapped up their first season performing on the team's seniors-only dance team, the Wisdom Dancers. The team's composed of 19 women and 1 man, ages 50 to 76, who rehearse weekly and perform every 3 to 4 weeks at home games. In their red, white, and blue uniforms, the team delivered a rousing performance to Peaches and Herb's 1970s classic, Shake Your Groove Thing.
That is great.
Congrats.
I know 3 people that could qualify for the
right here.
In his Final Four weekend in college basketball.
The teams and all of their fans from Texas Tech, Michigan State, Auburn, and Virginia have descended on Minneapolis, and sports director Jay Wilson is at the bracket board for us one more time. Hi, Jay.
Hi, how you doing today?
Good.
The Final Four this year is at the stadium where the Vikings play, U.S. Bank Stadium. So it's a big place. So everybody's wondering, can teams make baskets? Because if you know a little bit about basketball, if you shoot, you want a background, a short background. The old field house was a great place to shoot because it was right on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But as the stadiums got bigger, it's been tougher and tougher to shoot. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Are they using the whole thing, the whole field?
I think they use part of it, and then they have bleachers over here.
The Badgers had the same problem in Dallas, didn't they, when they went to the Final Four that year?
They had problems in San Jose, too. I remember a couple weeks ago. But yeah, I mean, but you know, the Kohl Center is a pretty big place, so teams get used to it more and more. But it's always interesting to see how, you know, with all the bright lights and everything that's going on, how teams can shoot.
All right, the Final Four.
The Final Four. Okay, this year it's on CBS. Thank goodness it's back on CBS after a year at TBS. The first game Saturday, a little after 5 o'clock our time, is going to be Auburn against Virginia. Auburn is as Cinderella as you can get. They're the 5th seed, which the Badgers were a 5th seed, but people are pretty surprised that they've been red hot. They've been shooting the lights out of it. Virginia is the team that, you know, the only #1 seed left. Everybody thought Duke would be here, but Virginia's the only #1 seed here. And of course, Tony Bennett, who is the assistant coach at Wisconsin, is coaching the Cavaliers. And last year, they became the first #1 seed to lose to a #16 seed.
Right, that's right. They're right away.
Biggest upset in NCAA history.
They redeemed themselves.
I think so, and I think they will do it as well, because they're loaded. They're the #1 defensive team in the country. Their statistics are #1 in the country, and what do they say? Offense wins games, defense wins championships.
Yeah.
It's cliche, but it's true.
And a local connection for us, so with 20 there.
Absolutely. Okay, so I think Virginia is going to go up against Auburn. This is going to be an interesting game.
Oh, yeah.
Michigan State is a #2 seed. Texas Tech is a #3 seed. Of course, Michigan State, we know, they have maybe the best player in the country right now that's left in Cassius Winston, who runs the offense. And Texas Tech is the 3rd best defensive team in the country. So it's going to be interesting to see if the guy that runs the offense can run it against the defense that's been red hot.
And defense wins championships.
That's what I hear.
That's what you said.
That's why Michigan State's going to advance. Right there, baby. Sparty, going to make it.
Big Ten. That's nice, too.
Yeah, I think so. And Tom Izzo's just a fantastic coach, and he's got them going again.
So let's look at the championship.
So the championship game's just after 8 o'clock. The pregame show might go 2.5 hours for all I know. So, you know, by the time the game starts, it's going to be after 8 o'clock. But the pregame starts at 8 o'clock. Maybe my heart is telling me this.
Think so?
But I say Virginia because
going to win the whole thing.
I think they're going to win the whole thing. They've got the whole package. And I think what happened last year has kept them on track all of this year. Guards win games in the tournament. Michigan State's got a really good guard. Virginia's got 3 really good guards. And I just think that they're just doing what a story it's going to be if they make it.
I think for basketball fans, they're a winner no matter what. These are going to be good games.
Yeah. And the one thing to watch, if you want to play a game at home, over/under on how many times Dick Bennett is appearing in the stands going like this and watching Tony go.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, okay, so I think the over/under is about 8.5. So if you think it's going to be more than 8.5,
Saturday night at CBS and then Monday at CBS.
Love it.
Thank you, Jay.
Good luck.
Thanks, Jay.
We'll be right back. Good evening for a walk.
Oh yeah, some warm temperatures out there right now. A lot of us are in the upper 50s, even some 60s showing up in the picture. Mineral Point, they are the winners at 64 degrees right now. As we cool down overnight tonight, we're going to see those lows come down towards 43, staying mostly cloudy. But then into your Saturday, some sunshine early, showers to the north, highs around 64.
We'll take it.
Yeah,
Thank you, Chris.
good.
And coming up Monday here on Live at 4, former UW basketball players describe how they're giving back to the community.
And our film critic Will Loper will tell us what he thinks of the new superhero movie Shazam. That's coming up Monday on Live at 4. Well, Lola and Louie have rounded up a bunch of critters from all over the world this week.
Let's find out what they found in this week's edition of the Newshounds Now Update.
It's Newshounds Now Update with Lola and Louie.
This week on the Newshounds Now Update, a gaggle of corgis.
Some rare white lions.
And an even rarer albino penguin.
But first, a white polar bear finally has a name. The Berlin Zoo has unveiled the much-anticipated name of its star attraction, the 4-month-old polar bear cub. Her name is Hertha, named after the German capital soccer club, which will be its sponsor. Hertha delighted zoo visitors as she ran after a soccer ball with her name on it before enjoying a dip with her mother. According to the zoo director, Hertha is making great progress, and she's already put on a lot of weight thanks to a hefty diet of mother's milk.
Continuing our white theme, 2 rare white lion cubs have been born in a Crimean safari park. The male and female cubs have yet to be named. Their mother, Milady, became a mom for the 2nd time after giving birth last year as well. Dad, Rocky, who is magnificent, by the way, tries to get in with the cubs, but Mom is not having any of that. There are about 300 white lions in the world, most of them in captivity.
Talk about rare. You are looking at the world's only albino penguin raised in captivity. The bird, whose gender is unknown and has not been named, tentatively stepped out of its shelter at the Gdansk Zoo in Poland, sticking close to other members of its flock. The penguin, who hatched in December, caused a stir when it arrived because of its unusual coloring. Right after hatching, the bird was kept apart from the flock for its safety, but it's now being cared for by its parents and 2 older birds.